To another episode of Deep True Crime. I'm Marayna Rodgers. In today's episode, we're continuing the coverage of Chase Comanche, the ex-NBA G League player who has now been charged with a murder. And so we're going to dive into what we know now that the charging documents have been released. And so it was all over the news as soon as I woke up this morning. Just didn't have time to go. I don't know how some of these people have all this time to just sit at the computer. I wish I could, but maybe someday. And here's the truth. Here's the truth. Doing these videos is not about me. It's about the victims. It's about you being a voice for the victims and being a voice for you, because you never know what could go wrong in this crazy world we live in. And so we're going to dive into what we know. Don't go anywhere. We are finding out so much more now that it has been revealed that he actually plotted the murder during a game and posed as a trick. A trick is something that, females, maybe males, that are on the streets trying to work up tricks to make their money. Hopefully you understand what I mean without getting too graphic in that. And so we continue to find out more about the former NBA G League basketball player, Chase Comanche, that he actually plotted the murder during a game. Again, he's an NBA player. He was in the G League, which he has seen some time in the actual NBA. But the G League, this team is Stockton Kings. They're an affiliate of the Sacramento Kings. And so, he plotted this, him and another female. And so here he is plotting this murder during a game and posing, or not during a game, but in between, and posing as a sex work customer in order to lure a woman to her death, and made a full confession to the police. Now that the arrest report has been made available, and first it was obtained by, I believe, Las Vegas station KLAS, and so now it's making its way. And so in one text message exchange that police have shared, Comanche, he shared a coffin emoji with his 19-year-old alleged accomplice, Sakari Harnden. And he writes in a text message, "I can snap her neck or just strangle some expletive." Okay. And so Comanche, that's what he is said to have wrote in a group chat that was obtained by the police. Now, Comanche and Harnden is also facing this charge with him. Now, Harnden is the one that originally wanted this. She's the one that had the problem. And so, for her, hey, I want revenge. This is Harnden here. So Comanche and Harnden, they're accused of the murder and kidnapping of the 23-year-old Marayna Rodgers. Marayna was definitely taken from this world way too soon, and now we hope to get justice. You see, Marayna, she's not from Las Vegas, and I'll share with you what was going on as to why she was down there. But let's take a little step back. On December 7th, 2023, at approximately 3:32 p.m. in the afternoon, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, they received a missing person report from the Las Vegas Police Department Bowdoin Area Command. And two friends of hers, Gavin and Summer, they reported their friend Marayna missing. And so Marayna, again, very young girl, had so much life to live. She was just in there, to be honest with you, and I'm not here to judge at all. I'm here to be a voice. She went to Las Vegas to turn tricks, basically, as a PRO. You know what I'm talking about, as a pro at that. And so She was in Vegas for that reason. And so her friends, they started to get worried about her. So Gavin and Summer, they're like, where is Marayna? She's missing. And so Gavin and Summer, they disclosed that Marayna, she was a working prostitute and was last seen on December 6, 2023 at 1 in the morning. Again, Las Vegas time. Okay. Due to the fact that the missing person in question was a working, prostitute, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Vice Section, they were responsible for the initial investigation. And then on December 7th, Detective Perez, one of the detectives, he wants to talk to Summer and Gavin, who is the one that reported her missing. And so they talk and they're sharing. Summer and Marayna, they were friends. And Summer, she had knowledge that Marayna was a pro on the streets. And so Summer, she last saw Marayna on December 6th at approximately 2000 hours, which is 8 p.m.? 8 p.m. in the evening. And so Marayna, she left Summer to meet another sex worker, Sakari Harnden. This is Sakari Harnden. I may be pronouncing the name wrong. She's in trouble. She's not the highlight of this episode, right? But at the end of the day, everyone gets their day in court. But this is actually looking like there's something here. And so this is this is who was a partner with her. And so Summer, she says that Marayna left her to meet another worker. This girl here, Sakari Harnden. Now, Marayna and Sakari, they had planned a prostitution date with two unknown males. And so Marayna, she never returned from the double date, and Summer had not heard from her since. And so Summer knew it's not like Marayna to not check in and not return from her dates. So Summer, she became concerned. And so Gavin also begins to express concern for Marayna's safety due to Sakari's associates being known to be violent. So the people that Sakari hung out with, it made them a little unsafe. They did not feel good for her. People, it is what it is. So Summer and Gavin, they indicated that Marayna was staying in an Airbnb as Summer believed that Marayna drove a white Mercedes four-door sedan. And lo and behold, they would go a little further. Detectives learned that on December 6, 2023, at approximately 2:25 in the afternoon, Sakari Harnden, she had filed a missing person report under some event. Okay? So in this moment, she, it's got an event number. I don't really know. We're about to get to it. But, or should I say, we're about to get to it. The details of the report, they were extremely vague. So there's still some not too sure. But summarized that Marayna was last seen on December 6th at 0300 hours, which is 3 in the morning, Las Vegas time. She was leaving an Uber to the Summerlin area for an appointment. An appointment is a date. Marayna, she was drunk. She was high on ecstasy. And Sakari mentioned Marayna has bipolar disorder, but did not believe her to be a danger to herself. That's what Sakari said in her report. Okay, so that's when they continue to find out more about this. And so lo and behold, there's so much more about this. So they attempt to locate Marayna. And at the beginning of the investigation, they start, looking for Marayna, and detectives, they tried to find her. All attempts to find her were unsuccessful. And so all of a sudden, they're getting multiple reports of her disappearance, and detectives, they're unable to locate Marayna. And so all of a sudden, a Kelsey something phone ping was conducted on Marayna's phone number. Okay. In this process, that's when it's like, okay, this ping, it yielded no GPS coordinates to the location services being turned off or deactivated. They found that to be a little strange. And so on December 7th, detectives and some patrol officers from the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, they responded to an area. As detectives arrived, they observed a white Mercedes with Washington plates. Again, Marayna was in town, but she is from Washington State. And so, being from Washington, they knew that this car looked a little familiar. And now it has Washington plates. The vehicle matched the description of Marayna's vehicle, the one that, Summer had described. So the vehicle was stopped and detectives made contact with the driver, who was identified as Tremaine, Marayna's boyfriend. Again, Tremaine is said to be the one who traveled. If you watched my episode yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, my last episode on this, she went from Washington with a friend, okay, I believe that was yesterday, with a friend. They traveled from Washington to Las Vegas. And my thought process without reading the documents was, it's Las Vegas. People go to Las Vegas to party. Well, come to find out, she was going there to turn tricks. And so, again, I don't care. That has nothing to do with this. She did not deserve to lose her life. And so, on December 7th, they talk to Tremaine. This is about 7 p.m. in the evening, and Detective Perez conducted a recorded interview with Tremaine, who he says the following. Tremaine, he's the boyfriend of Marayna, and he explained that they drove to Las Vegas from Washington State. Tremaine and Marayna, they arrived in Las Vegas on December 1st, 2023. So they've been in Las Vegas for about a week before all this happened. And so on December 5th, they're there to work. And Tremaine tells them, we traveled down to Las Vegas with the intent of engaging in prostitution. And so on December 5th of this year, Marayna, she meets up with Sakari. All right. They were supposed to be working together. That's what Sakari led her to believe at that time. Okay. And during that moment, it's like, okay, she trusted this girl. Marayna meets up with Sakari to complete a double date as a prostitute. And so Marayna and Sakari, they were going to spend the evening together meeting NBA players. Marayna tells Tremaine she was expecting to make $4,000 in one night. Marayna, she left the Airbnb at approximately, it is about 10:30 at night. Okay, it's about 10:30 at night. And Marayna, she's expected to return to the Airbnb on December 6th. So at approximately 9 in the morning. But she never returned. This is not normal for Marayna to not return or not check in. So Tremaine, he attempts to locate Marayna and, following the GPS, looking at whatever location, because they did have one of those location sharing applications, but it appeared as though Marayna had her location services turned off or disabled. And so Tremaine, he starts getting worried. He's like, I don't understand what's going on. And according to a story that Tremaine had been told, Sakari and Marayna, they were in a vehicle with a trick. And Marayna had left Sakari to go on another date. Okay. Again, Marayna is said to have left Sakari. Of course, that's what Sakari's going to say, right? Because she's not going to say the actual truth. Marayna, she allegedly left in an Uber to her new date. Now, Tremaine, he thought this was suspicious due to Marayna always using his Uber account for trips. Tremaine, he did not believe Marayna had her own Uber account. And so he believed that Garrett had driven Marayna to meet up with Sakari. Okay, that's just his thought. That's what he's telling them. Tremaine, he disclosed an altercation between Sakari and Marayna. Again, Sakari, at one time, were probably friends. Marayna, they were friends. But the two of them, they had a fight, which occurred on December 4th, 2023. Now, Sakari, she allegedly implicates her boyfriend, Joshua, in a double murder in California. Okay? Sakari, she's upset at Marayna for telling other people that Sakari had implicated her boyfriend in the murder. Joshua was currently in custody for the murder in San Joaquin County Jail. Again, the last location that Marayna's handset shared with Tremaine's handset was at a particular location. And so they're going to dig deeper. On December 7th, again at approximately 7 p.m., they're going to interview Garrett now. Again, they're under the impression that maybe Garrett went and dropped her off. And so Garrett, he arrives in the area, and Garrett, he comes in a red Chevy Camaro with some Nevada plates on it. So Detective Perez conducts a recorded interview with Garrett, and he shares the following. Garrett was a childhood friend of Marayna and knew her for approximately 15 years. Garrett, he arrived in Las Vegas on December 1st. He drives to Las Vegas in the white Mercedes belonging to Tremaine and Marayna. They all stay in an Airbnb together for the whole duration of their visit. Garrett, he admitted that Marayna was visiting Las Vegas to engage in prostitution. And so on December 5th at approximately 23:30 hours, and that is 11:30 at night, Garrett was contacted by Marayna to meet up so he could drive her to meet Sakari. And so Marayna showed Garrett a string of text messages between her and Sakari where Sakari arranged a double date. And in the text messages, an unknown trick offered to pay Marayna $1,000 for services. Okay, Garrett, he also discloses an incident between Sakari and Marayna that occurred on December 4th, 2023. Again, same thing. Marayna allegedly told people how Sakari provided information to police, resulting in Joshua's murder arrest. Okay, so if this has something to do with it, there's also might be a Rolex involved. We're getting there. But you see how multiple people are talking about this altercation between Sakari and Marayna? Okay. And so on that day, December 6, 2023, at approximately 1 a.m, Garrett drops off Marayna at an unknown location where Sakari was located. Sakari, she was inside her personally owned Mercedes. Okay. Garrett looked inside the Mercedes and observed an individual in the rear passenger side of the Mercedes. Behind the driver's seat, multiple suitcases and luggage. Now, Garrett, he's like asking Sakari who the individual was, and Sakari stated it was a trick who is going to pay for their services. Garrett thought it was odd that a trick would be sitting in the back seat. There is a reason that trick is in the back seat. Okay, we will find out through text messages why he's in the back seat. But Garrett, he says, I thought that was odd. And so Garrett last sees Marayna as she drives away in Sakari's Mercedes with an unknown male at approximately 1:17 that morning. And Garrett believes that Sakari is responsible for Marayna's disappearance. Garrett has no problem telling the police officers that, and Garrett stated that Marayna would never get into an unknown Uber for only $1,000. To her, that trick is not worth it. So now they want to interview Sakari. Okay. Now they make several attempts to locate and interview her. She refuses to return any phone calls from the law enforcement. And because she's the last person to see her, the detectives, they requested the use of an emergency PEN. And so utilizing this, that's when they're able to locate where she's at. And so on December 8th, right, detectives, they responded to this area. And at approximately 1:10 in the morning, Detective Londergan and FBI Special Agent Jones, they interview Sakari. Okay, of course, they record this. Sakari, she admitted that she and Marayna, they were escorts who provided different services to clients. And she states that she met up with Marayna near their current location. And they drive to a liquor store. Okay, so she drives to a liquor store. And Sakari had a trick whom she also considered a friend in the vehicle. She identifies the individual as Chance Comanche. Sakari stated that Chance was in love with her and would do anything for her. And Sakari, she provided Chance's cell phone number. And she even says that Chance was in the NBA G League and was in town for a basketball tournament. Okay? He's a professional. Why would he get himself caught up? He is who he is, right? So I don't know. But he explained that he's a part of the NBA G League. He plays for Sacramento Kings, in their G League. So he's part of the Stockton Kings that play out of Stockton, California. And so the three of them, they go to the liquor store where Sakari bought some alcohol. And they planned on going to Comanche's hotel room, but they decided to meet someone. Another trick. And so Chance was dropped off at a convenience store where an unknown friend of Chance picked him up. Again, according to her. This is what they're sharing, what she told the detectives. Okay, so she shares Comanche. He plays for the Kings. He's part of an NBA G League, and so giving him the information and making it sound like he has nothing. We dropped him off. Another friend picked him up, but they don't really know outside of that, right, who this friend was, because there really isn't a friend. Sakari and Marayna, they arrived in the area, and they perform oral stuff on a trick inside the vehicle. Okay, that's what this is her account of this. She says this transaction took approximately 15 minutes, and they were each paid $5,000. After Sakari asked if they wanted to go to Comanche's hotel, but Marayna said she had another date planned in Summerlin. According to her, Marayna got into an Uber, and Sakari described the Uber vehicle as a black sedan. Okay, this was her way of saying, we don't know anything. This is the last I knew. And so she denied being in any altercation with Marayna in Las Vegas, but she did admit to having a conversation with Marayna in the backyard of some place. But with Sakari, she couldn't remember what they talked about. And so then Sakari provides detectives with a text message screenshot that she receives from Marayna. And the text message was in reference to a trick that contacted her for a date. Okay. And so in this date, the message was sent from the Text Now phone number. Some Text Now, right? And so the message that she shows them, it says, if possible, I was thinking $1,000, $1,000 for like an hour, and then possibly longer, depending on how the vibe is good. Wink face emoji. That's what she showed. And Marayna replied, that's perfect. The vibe is great. That's what Sakari is showing them on these text messages, okay? And so immediately after, Marayna leaves in an Uber. Sakari meets back up with Chance and remained with him the rest of the night. Again, that was her side of the story. Sakari makes several attempts to contact Marayna, but was unable to make contact, stating her messages never went through. All right. So now it's time to get the search warrants because nothing is adding up. And so Detective Perez on December 8th, he authored a search warrant, which was approved by the judge. And it authorized the search of some person in Sakari's 2017 Mercedes E350, wanting to know what does this thing have to do with anything. And during the search of the vehicle, detectives, they recover an iPhone 11, iPhone 12, and an iPad that was believed to belong to Sakari. And so that same day, December 8th, Detective Lonergan authored a digital forensic search warrant for those contents, because they recovered the iPhone and iPad, and now it's time to really go even deeper. And so the warrant was approved. That same day, Detective Lonergan, he contacts Text Now for an emergency disclosure request because they need answers. And so the next day, detectives received the subscriber information for the Text Now number. And so the number was registered to Chance with some username. And so on December 9th, that's when they're like, okay, now let's find out about this Uber. And then lo and behold, they contact Uber for an emergency request for any Uber rides within a 1 mile radius of a particular area from December 5th at 10 p.m. until December 6th at 3 in the morning. So basically the next morning. And guess what? There are no pickups or drop-offs. Boom. Sakari is, at least we know that something is not right. And now they want to even go a little further. Okay? Because as they go through her cell phone, Sakari's cell phone review on December 9th, the detectives, they began a review of everything that's in Sakari's iPhone 11. And detectives, they located multiple Telegram chats believed to be shared between Chance and Sakari, implicating them in the disappearance of Marayna. So we're finding out that Sakari, as we already knew, is not being forthcoming. Because again, she tells him that Marayna goes in an Uber. And then they do Uber and they're like, no, why are you lying? And so these Telegram chats then begin to implicate Chance and Sakari in the disappearance of Marayna. Okay, so then they go through these text messages and it literally starts opening up a lot. And so, that's when they realize, like, hey, this former NBA G League basketball player, Chance Comanche, actually plotted a murder during a game. During his NBA game. Okay? He even poses as a sex work customer in order to lure a woman to her death. And that's what we're learning in all of this. And in one of those text message exchanges up that showed, that he put a coffin emoji with his 19-year-old alleged accomplice. See, Sakari, she's only 19 years old. Okay. And I'm not going to read every text message. I'm going to give you some of the highlights. Okay. One of those text messages, Comanche, he says about Marayna, I can snap her neck or just strangle the bleep. That's what he wrote in this group chat. Okay. And so that was literally like, oh my gosh. So at the early hours, when this all starts planning out, starting way back November 30th at 3:50, Sakari says to Chance, hello, they're going back and forth a little bit. And they're talking about, did he reply? He with family right now. He gonna tap in later with me and I'm gonna run it by him. And so that's because they were trying to find someone to do something. All right. So it became a little odd, right? And in this, around December 1st at 3:42, Marayna, she shared her location to Sakari. Remember, they were friends at one time. And so Chance says to Sakari, it's green. I have him the baseline info. He's going to hit them and get back. And they're talking about doing the unthinkable. All right. And they're even talking about planning what they're going to do. And so in this, we find out about these chilling text messages because truth is these were unbelievable when you stop and you think about why would anyone do this? Number one. Number two, to look through these text messages and know, all right? Because she trusted him and them, or should I say her, she trusted Sakari, all right? And in between games, that's when this professional basketball player decided to ruin his life. And so, we continue to find out a lot more, but Marayna Rodgers is no longer alive. The 23-year-old from Lakewood, Washington, again, she traveled down to Las Vegas on December 1st with a friend with the intent to engage in prostitution. That same night, Harnden began seeking her ex-beau's help, okay, after there were reported issues between her and Rodgers. And so Harnden and Rodgers, who they both worked as prostitutes in the Vegas area for that moment, and allegedly argued over a Rolex as Rodgers threatened to smoke Harnden if she didn't give her the watch. And so Comanche and Harnden, they then decided to kill Rodgers when they failed to hire a hitman for $3,000, which was some of those text messages that I had read to you. Okay, let me see if I can find that and go a little bit deeper in this. Let me find my screen share and see if I can't share with you on this. Okay, so you can see the charging documents here, and you can see the event number in reference to this. Now, let me open this. I think I can. Yep, I can open that a little bigger. So the text messages, these are where all the text messages, and you can see they begin on November 30th. All right. And they're talking about the hitman that didn't work out for them. And so they're just going in a little further. Okay. Now, this is Chance, the ex-NBA now, and Sakari, the 19-year-old accomplice, ex-girlfriend, whatever. All right. And so I'm not going to read all of that. All right. But you can literally see. And right here, her name is Marayna. You know, that's when Sakari says to Chance, because they're trying to set her up. Her name is Marayna. And Sakari to Chance, let me check. She stayed changing it. Chance, you can see what he says there. I'm not going to be repeating everything. This is just, it's chilling. It's chilling. And so they're planning this stuff, right? And Chance says to Sakari, that's where she be staying. There's gonna be hella heads there, though. All right. I don't know. You can make it out. And so, and this is important to highlight. So if he make a WhatsApp, I don't know. I'm not even going to, it's just hard to read that stuff. And they're talking about the failed hitman. All right. And that's what they're talking about to plan him. All right. And so it's key to know that at one time, you know, again, the NBA player, the Stockton Kings that he played for, as you can see here, they had a game on December 1st at 7 o'clock. All right. The game was played at the Stockton Arena in Stockton, California. The Comanche was present during the game. And then Sakari says to Chance, you know, it's not working out yet. All right. And Sakari says, you know, trying to figure out if I should keep playing friendly with the BITCH or if I should say I'm going to get out of town because she's trying to link. I'm trying to delay it long as possible till we can get this, you know, stuff done. Stuff. Okay. Our other friends trying to link. I'm only trying to link with them, though, not her, not Marayna. So trying to wait to do that till this is done with whatever. And so in this, you can see they had so many text messages that would lead up to this. All right. And you can see, I'm not going to read all those words, as you can probably read them yourself. But in this, all right, they're saying that, you know, he ain't come back yet. He ain't hit me back up. Like, he ain't even opened the Telegram stuff. Now, Telegram, if you want some private messages that are not easily to be, you know, that are encrypted, again, the police can still find this stuff. So it's safe, but it's not safe against everything, I don't think. All right. And so here, Chance says to Sakari, everything's getting in motion. Patience is a virtue. You good, though? Again, they're talking about Marayna. They're talking about what they're going to do to her. All right. And Chance, you know, they're still going back and forth. And they're still waiting to hear if this guy will do the do. All right. And so they're going through back and forth, and little time goes by, and they're trying to figure out how they can get this stuff done. And through that, and I'm going to just sum it up, basically, you know, they're going through the process. Again, they're trying to find someone to do the unthinkable to this girl. And so since the hitman did not work out, they then decide to do it themselves. And so they discussed several different ways to do this heinous crime, which included poisoning, strangulation, even using a gun. All right. He says to her, and I shared this with you, I can snap her neck or just strangle and he says, Comanche writes in this group message between Harnden and a third man, who did have contact with someone that could get Rodgers chipped. All right. That's what they were working on, trying to find this. And he says, Comanche, Chance, he says to her, if you get a nice little thick piece of rope or some sturdy, I can do it from the back seat, like how the killers do it in the movies. And then so Harnden and Rodgers, they had also got into an altercation. As I shared with you on December 4th, multiple people have alleged to have seen this themselves. And that's when Rodgers implicated, it said that allegedly, that Harnden allegedly implicated, Rodgers' boyfriend in a double murder. And so, which led to the man's arrest. So, we don't know more than that. Comanche, he met with Harnden through a dating app a year and a half before and broke up after a few months of dating. But the two remained in touch following their breakup. Now, if you caught that, all right, if she's 19, a year and a half, was that 17 and a half? We already know that he's older, right? He's older than her. So was she underage? Did something happen? I don't know. But the two remained in touch following their breakup. And so Rodgers, who was lured to her death by Comanche and Harnden, she was promised that, who promised her a double date with another man and to meet them in a predetermined location. That is what we're finding out. And so on December 4th, Comanche had checked into the M Resort and Casino in Henderson, Nevada with the Kings as they were playing a game the next night at the Dollar Loan Center. All right. And so that's December 4th. Again, I've been sharing December 5th. I've been sharing December 6th. I've been sharing a lot. But all these text messages that, as you can see, that, he checks in December 4th, but all these text messages leading up to that. All right. December 2nd, December 3rd, December 4th, again, the whole, they're not answering, been hitting them up. No one's getting answers, and he needs some cheese to put, whatever, cheese is cash. And you can see, it should be noted from this point on, detectives only have messages from Chance. Detectives believe this is from messages being deleted, unsynced, resulting in an incomplete digital extraction. All right. But you can see all of this. But December 4th, Comanche checks into the M Resort with his team. All right. Because they're in Las Vegas, Nevada for a basketball game. All right. And so we continue to find okay, there's so much more to this. And the one thing that we want is justice because she did not deserve this. All right. And so following the Kings game, Comanche, he makes his way back to his hotel with his team. And they all go back there together before he went back outside and got into Herndon's car, where he then drove to meet Rodgers. Again, he's posing as that trick. And so they purchase some alcohol. The three of them, they drive to a cul-de-sac near the former house of Comanche's friend, where they had originally planned to commit the crime. Harnden had explained to Rodgers that, Comanche was the trick. Of course, he's not well known. He's not a big superstar in the NBA, so she's not going to recognize him. And she says that he's going to pay both of us for our services. Again, you know what they do by now. With Sakari explaining that Comanche was into some kinky stuff and wanted to tie them both up before having sex. Now, Marayna, she's like, okay. She agrees. She begins removing her clothing. All right. Harnden removed her clothing. and climbs over the center console and straddled Rodgers' lap. All right. That's what the police records would show. This all happened before Comanche then grabs a bag of plastic zip ties that were already in the car and handed two to Sakari, again to tie her up. Rodgers willingly had her wrists restrained together before Comanche wrapped a cord around her neck, while Harnden, still straddling Rodgers, placed her hands onto the defenseless woman's neck. Rest in peace, Marayna Rodgers. Taken from this world way too soon. And so Comanche, he tells police that he used an HDMI cord to strangle Rodgers for 10 seconds and stopped when he heard his victim struggling to breathe. But Harnden continued. Rodgers then became unresponsive. That's what he has shared. Comanche and Harnden, they checked her pulse and determined that she is gone when they saw fluid coming out of Rodgers' mouth. The deadly pair, they pulled over to the side of a road in Henderson, Nevada, where they dump her body in a ditch before covering the body with rocks. Comanche, he confessed to police that he used a towel to pick up the rocks to avoid getting his DNA on them. And the accused killers, they smashed her phone and drove back to the team hotel, where they stayed until Comanche left with the team around 8:50 in the morning. That is what he has admitted. He has admitted to this. So we have to keep that in mind. It's not like they made this stuff up. This is what he said, right? And so, Comanche and Harnden, they did remain in contact after the murder, with police believing that the former king was coaching Harnden through how to talk to law enforcement. And he tells her at 10:03 in the morning on December 6th, he tells her, calmly answer them. They only know what you tell them. You got this, boo. This is the post-game interview. Just smile and wave. That's what he said. Comanche played in another game with the Kings in Portland on December 7th, a day after the killing. Detectives found Rodgers' body in the ditch on December 15th after Comanche pointed to the location on a map during his interview. So even though he coaches her, it sounds like he's the one that caves in the most. He's the one that gives the forthcoming. He's the one that shares what they know. And so then the FBI agents and the Sacramento County Police, they arrested Comanche on first-degree kidnapping on December 15th. Rest in peace to this young girl who was taken away from this world way too soon. So in this, when they're like, what do we want to do it as? How do we want to take her out? And that's where it's so hard. And the way that the lack of remorse, I don't care what happens. I'm down for this, basically. I'm down to do the unthinkable. Did he really think he would get away with it? People saw her get in a car. They're going to follow up. Like, I don't understand, right? I don't understand why someone would think this is okay. And so I don't understand any of this, right? And so we don't really know much more, And so the first person that they thought that they had a reliable source that they can count on, nope, that person was smart enough not to get involved. And so it blows my mind on what to do, what they thought they can get away with. Let me know your thoughts. Like, in what world do they think it could be away with? I don't understand. And so, the person who was like, I don't want to be a part, he says my fault for not being a reliable source. The homies I know that got hit us, I don't know, be on green light time. That's the only reason I hit them. We don't pump fake over here. I'm going to sum it up in English that I'm sorry I wasn't a reliable source. The people I know that normally do this stuff, they're normally good. They're normally ready, but but we don't bull crap people. I don't know. And so he's like, no one got a hold of me, and how do you want this to be done? So, they literally were thinking of different ways. They even asked, you got a gun? Can we do that? I'll snap her neck. I told you about that. They're like, well, maybe we could just pump her with so much DRUGs and OD her butt. I'm summing it up a little bit. Need to get that BITCH drunk and mix some rat poison or summon her drink. That's literally like, what ways can we get this done? All right. And so at the end of the day, he did come clean. All right. He did come clean. But, he himself was like, oh, I'm a great actor. I have no problem. But my gosh, they broke that dude down quick. And so, he thought, we have an airtight alibi. I'm an NBA player. I wanted to have some fun. I don't know what he was thinking. Right? So they literally read the documents. You can find it online, no problem. So truth is, I saw this over what article? I forget what article I saw this in. But, Chance and his team, they check in at 4:00 on December 4th. Everyone gets room keys, and then he gets a room key as well. So he goes to his room, later on in the evening, and then he goes to a teammate's room and then back to his room at, getting close to midnight. And then on December 5th, that's when he leaves his room with some teammates. And then he goes to the parking garage and, they find a car that actually matches Sakari's vehicle, right? And so he gets into a gray Mercedes vehicle that described Sakari's vehicle. Okay. And so that's when they knew the two of them were together. All right. All before and after. And so, Sakari, she leaves that room at the M Resort visibly upset and crying. And she leaves, she gets in her vehicle, she drives away. And so, truth is, they have enough. It's almost like open and shut, but we'll wait to see what happens next. My friends, this has been another episode of Deep True Crime. My friends, be careful out there. It is a crazy world we live in. Granted, her job is a job that you have to be extra careful. But what's worse is that, this was supposed to be a friend of hers, right? Marayna thought that Sakari was a friend, but we don't know more outside of that. But was this boyfriend who is in jail for murder, is that another story? There sounds to be some truth behind that, but we don't know. Anyway, my friends, thank you for this. And here's the truth. Be careful, be aware, be alert. You just never know when something can go wrong in this crazy world we live in. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Deep True Crime. Until next time, peace.